Hi, my name is Lorna Jackson. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, pioneering hypnotherapist, trainer and author, and I've been in private practice for many years. And one of my goals as a pioneering hypnotherapist is to help my clients to achieve their goals in as short and healthy as time as possible. Now, I've treated a client list of people from all walks of life that include celebrities, rock stars, business owners, and homemakers to change fears, habits, phobias, assist in weight management and release anxiety and depression, and also to gain confidence in life and release trauma. Now, most people are unaware that there are many different types of hypnotherapy. And to help my clients better, I've been on a quest to find a process that I could use that would best help people, especially people who had experienced trauma. So drawing from many years of experience and research, I created personality integration process, which I call PIP. Now, PIP is different from therapy techniques such as CBT, talk therapy, because it is a fast and effective, but yet comprehensive step-by-step process which provides outstanding and lasting results. Now, PIP resolves extreme trauma-related issues such as anxiety, depression, fears and phobias very quickly and effectively and safely, generally in about 2 to 3 sessions. So I created this cutting-edge therapy by drawing from many schools and traditions of therapy. Some are parts therapy, subpersonalities, and resource therapy. Now, PIP is based on the concept that the personality or ego is made up of a number of subpersonality parts. Now, these personality parts are aspects of the subconscious mind, and each part has their own role, emotion, intellect, traits and behavior, and make up the personality as a whole. Now, Freud and Jung are probably the most well-known and published psychiatrists to research the unconscious mind and the personality. Now, Freud discovered 3 subpersonalities: the id, the ego, and the superego. And Jung discovered many more, and he called them archetypes. Now, most people have had the experience of being taken over by another part of themselves, which we didn't know was there. You know, often we'll say, I don't know what got into me. And the person may have unexpectedly reacted to an event or a situation in anger, fear, with anxiety or panic. Now, the way we recognize the presence of another personality part is that we find ourselves in a situation where we act automatically in a way that we don't like or which goes against our best interest. But we're unable to change this reaction by willpower or by making a conscious decision. Now, these parts are like mini personalities, and most people are not aware that their personality is made up of parts until they experience this inner conflict. One part of the personality wants one thing, another part wants something else. Inner conflicts occur when we have 2 different parts of the subconscious pulling us in opposite direction. So most personality parts are created in our childhood, often through trauma or a repetition of behavior or emotion. And as we grow older, fewer parts are formed. Personality parts don't usually go away, even though other parts might want them to. They can change their role to help another part. They develop as coping skills, and each can be useful. Researchers believe that personality parts are neural pathways, and they're formed from intense use, similar to lines of communication that may be connected, changed, or disconnected. Now, the conscious part of the mind, which most people know about, is only about 10% of the mind. And the personality is made up of parts. And the part of the client that comes into my clinic and discusses their problem and wants to change is the 10% conscious or executive part. This part is conscious more often and often feels frustrated because it's unable to control the part that causes habits or negative behaviors, reactions, and feelings. Now, the subconscious mind is approximately 90% of the mind. And this part of the mind is made up of many underlying personality parts. And if you ask it a question without identifying a specific part, you may or may not get a true answer. The subconscious is not a mythical thing that has all the answers. And this demystifies the subconscious mind. Some people talk about this vast subconscious mind that you can ask questions and get answers from. But Pitt views the subconscious as a container that stores the surface and underlying personality parts. And this is the part of the mind where the client is unable to access and the hypnotherapist works with. So this is the part of the mind that I work with when I'm working with my clients, the subconscious mind. Now, the average person, which they're usually not aware of, has between 5 to 15 personality parts. And most of these parts are close to the surface and are known as surface states. Now, the person is more often aware of surface states because they are the normal functioning parts that operate our daily routines. Now, surface parts are used more frequently. An example of a surface part is the working part, the mother or father, a student, a sports part, smoker, binge eater, drinker, motivator, a nurturer, critic. They're just a few. Underlying parts rarely come to the surface and often have no communication with the surface parts. They might have been used in the past but seldom come out into the conscious. They're usually childhood parts that are disassociated, and more often they carry unresolved trauma and can only be accessed when the client is in a deep state of hypnosis. So underlying parts often feel scared, anxious, sad, unloved, fearful, disappointed, or angry. A normal personality part is psychologically healthy and is not in conflict or distress with any other part. Now, the purpose of PIP is to help all the parts of the client's personality to achieve a normal condition and to be a harmonious whole through understanding, insights, and eventually integration. Now, sometimes the wrong part comes out into the consciousness. An example of this is, say, when a student is taking an exam and they need to access the exam answers and they feel worried. This part comes out instead, the worried part, the doubting part, and undermines the part that has learnt the exam coming into the consciousness. So wounded or damaged personality parts are parts that have difficulty with emotion and can make the client feel out of control, and often they become overwhelmed by negative emotions to the point where they can no longer function in a normal way. So when these parts come up, they can make the client feel very anxious, fearful, or even panicked. Now, there's usually a childhood event called the initial sensitizing event that caused a part to feel this way. The wounded part may feel rejected, fearful, sad, confused, angry, or disappointed. Now, when the client is wounded with fear, the client might have phobias, panic attacks, feeling of fear in certain situations like a fear of flying or heights. Perhaps prolonged experiences of fear may result in some physical dysfunction, which may be recognized as illness. Many physical changes take place when we experience fear. changes that affect every organ of the body. Now, these changes are geared to provide the inner physical conditions needed for the fight or flight response. So when wounded with rejection, the client feels worthless or unlovable when they're rejected, often because they were abused by a parent in childhood. And as an adult, this part has a need for approval and becomes codependent on other people's feelings, which can often make it difficult to maintain a healthy relationship. So when wounded in confusion, clients often ruminate or are confused and unable to make a decision. And this confusion can cause people to feel stuck and unable to make decisions in life. When wounded in disappointment, often the client has experienced many disappointments in life and has an unrealistic expectation of how life should be. Often the client has felt let down and unsupported by parents or caregivers. And this disappointment can cause depression as an adult. Deep sadness, despair often develops if these disappointments are not addressed. So these 4 wounded personality parts are the parts that are addressed and help to reach a resolution to a normal state during the PIP process. And these parts can be brought back into a state of normality. They can become normal. So we're not living a life of fear or inner conflict or wishing we were someone else. Now, it doesn't mean everything is great, but at least you're able to be yourself without feeling something is in the way. So during a typical session, the client is guided into a hypnotic state to remember a specific event from their past that may connect to or cause the initial issue or conflicting part. And this helps the client to understand on both an intellectual and subconscious level the cause of the issues. And using the powerful PIP process, change this on a subconscious level. Now, PIP does not merely address the symptoms of trauma, it deals with the underlying cause of the problem and removing the emotional charge from the past and returning the person to a state of empowerment and returning the sympathetic nervous system to a calm state. So thank you for watching my video on my personality integration process. And if you would like to have a session with me, or perhaps you would like to learn how, if you're a therapist, you might want to learn how to facilitate this process, please give me a call. My number's 0411 886 796 and my website is hypnoresults.com.au. Thank you.